So you're one of those people wondering what happened with the casino bill down in Indianapolis? Well, allow me to fill you in. It passed the Senate by one slim vote. Passed the Senate with an amendment. Now, that amendment says, well, instead of Allen County, Indiana, it's going to be open to DeKalb County, Steuben County, pretty much the northeastern side of the state of Indiana. So everybody's open to get the casino once everything is passed. But here's where it stands. Now that it's passed the Senate, it must go back to the House of Representatives because, like I said, they've got an amendment change in there, and they have a conference committee. What the conference committee does, they all get together and take a look at it and say, well, let's find a middle point. Let's hash this thing out to make sure it works. And so whatever amount of time it takes, they could be meeting on Thursday and probably not Friday. And the reason is this. The assembly closes down on February the 28th. See, in Indiana, we have a long year and a short year. The long year is intended to build the budget for 2 years. The short year happens to be this year, where they can take on certain legislation, those kind of things that are going on, and get those things hashed out and voted out, whatever they're choosing to do. So this year's the short year, and the short year brings us House Bill 1038. Now that it's been passed by the Senate, like I said, it goes back to the House. The conference committee will get together, and they will have their answer by Friday. That's just in a couple of days, folks. And then the House Bill 1038, goes to the governor. And then it'll be up to the governor to sign it or veto it, whatever he decides. But here's the thing. The people in the Indiana House and Senate are going, ooh, goody, goody. This is going to garner $300 million of new revenue. Now, they believe most of it, or at least what they're saying, is the majority of it's going to come from people in Ohio, the people in Michigan. I'd like to counter that saying, okay, if they want to come over on the weekends, that's fine, but a casino's open 7 days a week. So I believe most of the revenue, the $300 million a year they're going to get, is going to come from the local populace. That's people who live in Fort Wayne and this metropolitan statistical area, which is sort of Allen County and the counties that touch Allen County. People who come up here to do their gambling. The other thing is they're thinking, well, this is going to give the city of Fort Wayne about $26 million to their budget. And Mayor Sharon Tucker is going, oh, goody, goody, that's what I want. And then, the Chamber of Commerce says, it's going to bring a lot of jobs. They're saying about 7,200 temporary jobs because whoever gets the casino has to spend $500 million to build a casino. Now, ask yourself this. Where in the city of Fort Wayne are they going to put a casino? Is it going to be just in the city of Fort Wayne? Or is it going to be in the county of Allen? I don't know how that's been figured out yet because right now they said Allen County and Steuben County and DeKalb County. Now, to me, that assumes that's county. But the mayor wants it in the city simply because that's where she's going to get her moolah. So that's where she wants it inside the city limits. But where inside the city limits could you build a $500 million mega Goliath casino? A $500 million casino is a big plot of land, folks. Where's it going to be? Now, during that time, they're going to have thousands of people building the casino, and that's fine. But they say, by the time it's built, they're going to have 250 employees. I can tell you this. The vast majority of the employees, and I mean the vast majority, are all going to be part-time. Nobody's getting full-time stuff. Nobody's getting health insurance, 501, whatever it is, 401k, whatever those savings account. Most everybody's going to be part-time. And a lot of people that are going to get these jobs, now they haven't mentioned this yet, are coming from out of town because they have experience working at casinos. You could have people from Anderson coming up and say, I'm going to move up to Fort Wayne. Remember when GM came to Fort Wayne? They brought all the people down from Wisconsin. Of course, that was a union rule. I understand that. But here, they're going to say, you got experienced people who are dealers, those kind of things. They know what to do. They know how to work the game. They may be moving to Fort Wayne. So think you're going to get a new job? Don't necessarily think it. However, you can be a hostess, I guess. Stand there and go, hello, welcome to the casino. So that's where it stands, folks. This could be a done deal by as early as Friday. Could the governor sign it thereafter? Well, that's certainly an option. But once it is signed, then open season. And what that means is any casino company, and I mean there's all kinds of casino companies. You go to Vegas, there's all kinds of different casinos owned by different organizations, can bid on opening a casino in northeastern Indiana, whether it's up there north, up in north of Angola, or down in Auburn, or even in Fort Wayne. How that gets worked out is anybody's guess. But once a casino does come in order to build the casino, they've got to write a check. They've got to write a check for $150 million to the state of Indiana. Now, the state of Indiana will hold $50 million of that for a city that loses the casino. So, say Rising Sun Casino closes down there on the river. Well, the state will give the city $50 million. Oh, sorry you lost the casino, but here's some coinage. But the other $100 million, state gets to keep. And the state also figures, man, we're going to be getting tax revenue off this thing, and boy, it's gonna be the greatest thing since sliced bread. Now, the referendum was taken out specifically. It was removed intentionally because the last thing the legislatures down there in Indianapolis wanted to have was a vote, because they already know, and they've admitted it. They know that the majority of people in Allen County don't want this thing here. And they're going to say, we don't want it. Now, do they have a say in this thing? Could it possibly a referendum be put on the ballot? I don't know. I don't know how that all works itself out, but I guarantee you the legislation that's coming out of Indianapolis says no referendum. And even our local politicians said, well, yeah, it's probably going to affect some people. I'm not sure how it's going to work out. They're dancing on the head of a pin, folks. They know exactly what it is. They just don't want to say it. Because, well, if they do say it, that we have to have a referendum, they're putting themselves in a box. And they don't want to be in a box. So now what we know is this. The bill passed the Senate. It's going on to a conference committee. And from there, approved by the House. And then it goes to the governor for his signature. And then, what happens down then? Katie barred the door, but they'll have until next December, maybe November, I believe it is, next November, to submit their bid to see which city, which town, which county gets that new $500 million casino, and they start funneling the money from people who live in that city into the casino, never to be reclaimed. Something to think about. And now you know.